1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Should be fine. 1 2 1 2. Should be fine. Okay. Let me actually check it on my other device to ensure that everything is fine. I'm not sure whether I captured the right mic. Let me check the properties. Let's skip the music for now. Give me a second, guys. Let's skip the music for now. Give me a second, guys. Let's skip the music for now. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Now let me check the correct mic. One, two, three, 1 2 3. One, two, three. Okay, I guess it's fine. Okay, let me put some music back on. And let's find out whether I can share that I have started streaming quickly. How you guys were doing? Hopefully everything is fine. I haven't had much time, fortunately. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, right. Okay, so everything should be all right. If you guys are on the chat, you can tell me whether the music is not loud enough and you can hear me fine. I can check it myself. Cool. Should be all right. Yeah. Right. So we can see we are in the Workstation Pro. This is I'm currently RDP to my let's call it lab host, the host that has significant amount of resources and I can, you know, play with it, and I decided to run a detection lab, my private detection lab. As you can see, and the name is telling it's elk. Actually, you can see all the 4 kind of systems that come in play into this setup. It's pretty, you know, easy. That was kind of inspired by the detection lab. Actually, let's check out the detection lab project, which is unfortunately no longer supported. And I had some troubles running it, so that's why I decided to spin up everything from, you know, from ground up and do it myself. It's actually a pretty cool exercise, you know, as well. That's why I kind of recommend. Yeah, but my detection lab is kind of cut version of it, because I do not have the WEF, which would be Windows Event Collectors server, right? I am going directly from the DC and the Windows 10 workstation. I'm going directly to the box that has a SIM. In my case, it's Elastic. Right, it will be elk, we'll be doing stuff with elk. Let's go back to this stuff. Alright. I need to manage my screens better, sorry for that. Yeah, so I do not have the collector, which is not a big deal, I think, and also I do not have currently all the good stuff, which would be Suricata, Zeek, and stuff like that. I'm planning to expand it a little bit more. For example, implementing, I needed to do a sysmon on the boxes, and I need to, what else do I need to do? Oh, I need to do some adversary emulation, and I think I will go with the Atomic Red Team. Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun stuff. Cool. So let's yeah, but you can check the project. I guess you can spin it up. You can run it relatively easily. However, yeah, it's no longer supported, and I also didn't want to have a Splunk. I prefer Elastic. So that's kind of the reasoning behind. Right. So maybe let's go with a tour. So there are 4 hosts, 4 systems. First one is pfSense firewall, which is acting basically as a gateway and is isolating this environment from my environment. What is also cool is that I can kill this box and the environment has lost access, lost the internet, which, you know, I think is pretty handy. So yeah, this is only kind of working as a gateway. I have running some top in there, no big deal. This is a domain controller I have set up in here. And yeah, it's acting as a DHCP and a DNS server, the typical domain controller stuff. However, I have set up some logging policy because I'm all about the I'm all about the management, not the management, but you know, the logging. So yeah, I have set up some auditing policies, mostly the advanced one. The thing I wanted to highlight for sure are the detailed tracking with the process creation or something configured. Right, because I have created the group policy, right? I forgot about it. It has been already some time since I did this. That would be in here. Check it out. I think I'm a little bit dropping, or I'm not sure. Let me check the stream. Or I'm not sure, but I guess it's fine. Yeah. So coming back to it, I wanted to highlight for sure the let me find myself in there. Yeah. Forgot when I have all this stuff set up. Nevertheless, we'll come back to it. Java. Cool. Nice that everything is working. So yeah, this is DC. We have some custom auditing in there. Cool. If you guys have questions, you can ping me or whatever. So yeah, this is standard DC. Some custom auditing is there in place. This is workstation, basically just a box. If you know Jason Tatum, I mean, kudos to you. However, I will want to have that in place soon. Yeah, and both DC and the Win10 have a WinLogBeat installed. Let me actually show you the configuration. This is pretty simple configuration, nothing fancy. I'm just grabbing all the stuff and outputting this to Logstash. And Logstash is not doing anything fancy because everything, the entire parsing kind of process is being done by the templates. When you install the WinLogBeat, you can generate a template and then you can kind of ingest the template into the. Actually, let me show you that. You can ingest the template. You can see some logs are coming. You can ingest the template to. I think it was in the stack management, index management, yeah, and then you have the data streams. Yeah, and then there is a template, right? And this template was generated by the WinLogBeat. And there is a simple command. Let me find this for you. That you can run or not. It has been some time since last time I was doing some stuff with it. I just had some free time, so yeah, you can generate basically a template and push the template. Maybe I have the command saved in there. No, I don't have. Okay, so you can Google it, I guess. Oh well, yeah, you can. Hi Paul, great share. Wondering if you have worked on Curator Sim. Yes, I did. Well, I'm working on Curator. I guess you come from the LinkedIn. You come from the LinkedIn, and in the LinkedIn you can see that I'm employed by IBM, and IBM. So yeah, so the template is responsible for parsing, so that's a handy, because you don't really need to bother about parsing those fields. And what else I can, well, I guess I can try to remind myself about the policies I have set up in there, but I don't really. Audit policies, alright, okay. So here it is. So the policies we have in place, and the one I wanted to highlight is for sure this process creation one, and it will generate the 4688 event, the process creation, which according to the MITRE is, the one data that is going to provide you the most cover. I know this is kinda long shot, because focusing your detections on long ways with command lines, I feel you can go with commands, very long ways. Guys, can you tell me, do I drop some frames, or because I have this notification from OBS that I'm disconnecting, then I'm reconnecting after some time, and I'm not sure whether something is broken or not. Maybe that's due to the maybe that's due to the VPN, I'm not sure. Let me know. Let me kill the, maybe I will kill the VPN. Right? How about now? Maybe I will kill the VPN. Right? I'm wondering whether my device has lost connection to. Well, seems to be fine, isn't it, right? Right, yeah, so I will just... Here are some basic auditing policies enabled in the end, I think, for the sake of the detection lab and the purpose that I wanted to have, which is provide me with as much telemetry as possible for different, scenarios, use cases, techniques that I wanted to check in my private time. Then I will crank up everything to maximum. I will just, click through it. You can go back, you can stop, you can check. And also there is one thing that I have enabled, and that's kind of what is also important. Let me find the settings so I can provide you with, which is, I think, one of the most important stuff. Yeah, so computer configuration, then we have policies, Windows settings, security settings, advanced audit, editor tracking is there. Okay, so within administrative templates, within system, we would see audit process creation, and we see that this is being enabled. And this is also important. If you, like guys, just take, if you will take the one thing from this stream and from listening to me, if you audit the process creation events, right? If you enable the process creation events, the 4688 event, please do yourself a favor and enable this. I mean, you already have the log, right? You already have the logs. Why don't get all the stuff, right? So yeah, so enable that. That's quite important. Okay, so let's go to Elk. Let's find out some stuff. Okay, let's re-authenticate. Let's go to Discover. So both DC and Win10 are sending logs to Logstash, and from Logstash it's being sent to Elastic, right? And I'm using WinLogBit on both machines. Yeah, and we can, those are all the standard parsing done by the standard template that you can generate. You can see we have some cool new process creation logs 4688. That's what I have been mentioning, and then you have a command line, right? If you wouldn't enable the thing I have showed you, you wouldn't have this information in there, which is, I think, pretty cool, crucial, important. The other thing I would want to show you, actually we can go through and check and find some logs, event code, right? So that would be our property and the value that we are looking for. So right in the last, I think it's like 15 minutes, right? We have 509 process creation logs. Let's see how many of those were generated by DC. So majority is being generated by the Windows 10, which is interesting. We could check out, what processes are being spawned. Maybe there is something interesting, or maybe not. Okay, so how you would go about it? I would go to the first log as an example log, and then going through the values, you can pick the values that you feel would be interested for you. So for sure, we would want to see parent process name, then we want to see the child or the actual process, right? Then we want to see a command line, which is the important parameter in there. Well, I guess we can also see the user, why not? We have the SIDs as well. Yeah, and that would be, I guess, some of the important stuff. And let's actually go and let's go ahead and do some stuff. As a Jason Tatum. Now we can, I don't know, open command line and type who am I and check how it is being represented in the logs. How we can basically just type a keyword and check. We have one hit, that's what and it's from now. That's what we would expect to see. So we see that the who am I command has been run. We don't have information about the target user. We can grab the subject user. Right, so we see who has performed the activity. Yeah, and let's check, because I do not recall whether who am I has some like parameters, and that's because I want to show you the importance of the command line in here. Right, so we go back to our Windows 10 box. There are plenty of, I don't know, parameters you can apply to the who am I, like who am I user, let's imagine that we are some kind of adversary doing some discovery, I want to learn what groups am I, stuff like that. So you can find out that I'm in the domain, the local admins for this domain. So I'm basically administrator on this box. What else? I can basically not the group, but who am I? It will speed out all the information. And going back to our Elastic, what we can see, we can actually refresh. We should see some more logs. However, imagine that we were not collecting the command line. So basically this would be blank. So what would you see is only someone has, not someone, but this user has executed who am I, and the parameters or the command lines provided you provides you with the context and with additional information that could be, I'm not telling that for sure, but could be crucial for the case, or could be an indicator of some malicious or at least suspicious activity that requires further checking, right? So that's why I think command line monitoring is important. Like I said before, I get the argument that you can basing all the detections on command line is not really resilient detection. So enable your command lines. Of course, there could be an argument that there is a possibility of sensitive data being passed via the command line parameters, right? Well, I guess in this case you need some good procedures in your company and stuff like that, because I think not collecting this crucial piece of information is hurting you, and collecting this is much more valuable than possibility of the some sensitive data like passwords being in there. And you can also argue that putting passwords in clear text in command line is a bad administrator practice, and perhaps your administrators need some best practice learning trainings, right? Practice, and perhaps your administrators need some best practice. Right, so that would be some command stuff. You know what is also interesting whenever I kind of go ahead and, because I have passed some certification, and whenever I kind of am against some you know, environments, and especially Windows ones, I like to go around and check what is available to me and what I like to do. Let's clear those columns, we don't need that anymore. Is stack counting of, for example, event codes. Let's grab all the logs from the last 15 minutes. So we can see the event code somewhere in there. There's lots of stuff being exported, I mean parsed. Yeah, we have event codes. Here in this little view you have like the top values, and I see it has, I think, calculated from everything, so it will provide us with a nice overview. I don't recall this event, 4703. A user write was adjusted. I'm not sure whether it is something of much value, to be honest. Doesn't seem like it. No, so that would be a candidate to drop, maybe, you know. You can also provide some value by tuning out your environment, by checking the logs, what you want to log or not. There is a nice resource. It's kind of dated a little bit, but yeah, spotting the adversary with event log monitoring. So, no, that would be from 2013. I guess it's the time of Windows 7. I think there are some Windows XP stuff in there as well. I think, yeah, there are some Windows 7 stuff. So some of it should be of some value. Let's find out. 4624 secure, yeah. So pass the hash detection. It provides you with some potential query list, I guess. Yeah, so you can check it out. The other stuff, well, the first link is going to the active countermeasures. That's kind of the Black Hills Security company or sub-company, whatever. And there are some events. Actually, 4703 is not there, so maybe that's a candidate for me to drop out from the environment. Why not? The other resource you can check out is the awesome open source security events metadata, which is basically going to provide you with the mapping of, let me actually show you. It's going to provide you with the mapping of Windows security events, not only the Windows security events, but also Sysmon and Defender stuff. And it's being mapped to Mitre. What was the event for 703? Right, so we have some four findings. So we have some value in that. Right, some tokens, so perhaps you could find some value in it. A token right was adjusted, so perhaps there is possibility to utilize this event. The other thing you could also do, if you want to find out of the value of the event, of course you can Google it, or you go to Sigma and try to find the event in there. Well, not much in there, but maybe they do not follow the standard event listing, because I think they categorize the events in a different way, so you would need to do some digging in there. But yeah, you can play around with the resources, I guess. Yeah, but most of the time, in the end, this event is really something that is of great value for you. Of course, if you have the command line monitoring enabled. Okay guys, do you have some questions or not? Or is anyone watching? I'm not sure. Right, so we can move on, I guess, to some PowerShell logging, which is we are still kinda in the territory of monitoring command lines. Let me find the reference that is very yeah, this is awesome article about the PowerShell logging for Blue Team. Basically goes through everything and how to enable that. Actually, let's check out our domain controller, whether we have it enabled or not. Let's authenticate. Right. So we are going into administrative table templates, and policies, administrative templates, system. Is it in system? Recall correctly. Let me Google this out. It's hard to remember that stuff. Well, of course you can enable that with the PowerShell. Right, so that will be also an option. Windows components, right? So you were in the right direction. And then a Windows PowerShell. Yeah, and here here is the configuration to enable. I kinda suggest following what is being set on the Black Hills security. You can read through those paragraphs, and in the end you can get an idea that what you require actually most of the time would be script block login, which is something I have enabled, and I have disabled start and stop events, which I found to be too verbose and basically generating too much noise. Actually, you can check that it's exactly what is stated in there. Yeah, little additional benefit at the cost of many more events being logged. So yeah, you need to be cautious and to play with the amount of the telemetry that you collect in the lab. It is all cool and fancy, and you can collect everything as much as you can. There is only 2 boxes, so we could enable it and just run with it. However, in the corporal environment, when you have thousands of systems, then the amount of events can add up pretty quickly, and you can find out that this is like the one that this is causing you some issues. So yeah, we have this enabled, and what it gives us basically. So let's go back to the Windows 10 box. Let's authenticate as our user. Yes, we can close the command line. We don't need. We are running with PowerShell, which is the thing that we need. Okay, and we have just run a PowerShell. Let's see what has happened in terms of our logs when you have opened the PowerShell. I guess we can type PowerShell, and we see some free events. This is like indicating that we have started PowerShell. I guess that's kind of the same. The question is whether I can find even code for 688 and PowerShell. Maybe I need to do it like that. Right, 4688. So if you did not have the PowerShell login, right? That's everything you would see, basically. You see the PowerShell and being spawned. you know, in our case by Explorer XZ, because I have just double clicked on it and and opened PowerShell, but yeah, other than that, you wouldn't have much, to be honest. You would see that, you know, the Explorer XZ created PowerShell. Perhaps you were logging command line and not. So now, what can we do is to check where, for example, we would run who am I again. Right, coming back to our elk. Let's rerun our query. We should see one more event, the new one. And we would see the who am I being spawned by PowerShell, and that's cool. Of course, it is all the, you know, the process creation events. In this case, the PowerShell process has spawned the who am I. That's why we are able to see that. However, what will happen if I, you know, type get process? Sorry for that, get process. No, I'm trying to enumerate some processes. I don't know. Doesn't matter. What is going to happen? Do we see something new? No, not really. You know, so that's when the PowerShell login comes into play, to be honest. Actually, we can check it. Check our PowerShell logs for 104. That was the event ID, and we are happy to collect those. Let's check the newest one, which is at the top, execute the remote command. I think this is prompt, not providing us with much. This is our get process. As you can see, we were able to see what the person, in this case me, on our Windows 10 box workstation, we can see what the guy has been, you know, doing. For example, we could assume that this is super malicious process, right? Stuff like that. So now get your Windows PowerShell logs, but again, you need to be cautious and to check whether it's actually better to run the POC and to do some sampling in your environment when you're, you know, about to enable some logging, to see the amount of logs you would generate and push to your SIEM, because you do not want to overwhelm yourself, you know, with the amount of the events. Those events are great, and, you know, don't get me wrong, that's why I'm showing you those, because those are great, but these can come in great volume, and well, for you, that's, I would assume, costs, right? That's a disk space or the EPS or whatever your SIEM of choice is, you know, is looking at, or what you are charged for, basically, right? So you need to be cautious about it. But for sure, I recommend, if you know, if you want to be smart about it, you can put like log aggregator before the SIEM, like the Logstash, and before the logs enter your SIEM, you can filter them out at the level of the Logstash. Of course, for this you need another appliances. Probably you want to have HA, right? Some redundancy in there. That would be preferable, but yeah. other than that, those events are great. Yeah, sorry guys for not being so prepared, but you know, I wanted to do some stream. I have set up this lab some time ago already, and I wanted to, you know, come back to it. And in meantime, just, you know, if I was about to come back to this lab, and I guess I can share something with you, with the community. So, summing this up, you know, we have the pfSense firewall. It has, actually, let me show you the settings. Maybe you want to copy it or not, I don't mind. Two network adapters. One is the VMNet1 with the host only. The second one is bridged to your network interface or of your hosts. I just put like 1 gigabyte of RAM. I think you don't need that much, as well as processor. I think I can save some stuff in there. Then we have a DC domain controller. This is Windows Server 2019 Evaluation Edition. 2 gigabytes of memory, 60 gigabytes space. It's being attached to this VMNet1. Yeah, and this is DNS and the DHCP. So in your VMNet1, you need to disable DHCP. Then we have Win10. Let me show you the settings. 2 gigabytes of RAM, you know, some 60 gigabytes. I guess, you know, I could go as little as 1 gigabyte, I guess. And it's also being attached to this network adapter of VMNet1. Then we have Elastic, and this box is like the most resource heavy one. I have currently 16 gigabytes on it, 6 now processors, or the 3 processors, 2 cores, whatever, some hefty amount of the space. It's VMNet1 as well. What you need to do is to set up static IPv4 address, because you don't want this to change. What else? It's running Elasticsearch, Logstash, as I told you, and it's running Kibana, and it's being, why don't I stop? It's being heavily under, you know, big consumption of memory, because, you know, it's all Java. Java likes to eat some RAM, I guess. What else? Let me show you the Logstash configuration. But I think there is nothing in there. Oh, I have like the token in here. Actually, I can show you that. You can generate a new token or the API key. That's not an issue. So this is basic, you know. So I'm grabbing input from bits, and that's it. Now I will generate a new API key or not. Doesn't matter. You don't have an access to it anyway. Yeah, and all the parsing is being done by the template I showed you at the very beginning with the index management. So this is the one, yeah. Yeah, it's being applied to the Windows pattern, index pattern. Let me quickly Google whenever I can. Generate a wind log beat. I mean, show you how to generate it. Oh yeah. Export index template. This is on the official site. Right. So you export and then you install it. You load it, whatever. You import it manually or not. And there we go. That's how you can obtain the data. So for me now would be the case of installing the Sysmon and configuring it with some open source basic configuration, and then some adversary emulation, which would be most probably Atomic Red Team. Right, guys. Any questions or not? No, you can hit me up on LinkedIn or on the YouTube here. I will try to be more consistent with the streams, maybe, but I'm not sure how watchable this content is. Maybe this will help someone. Yeah, but perhaps whenever I set up everything good to go with the Sysmon and adversary emulation, and we can do some tests, some atomics, and then see the events and write some queries based on the events or some detections. I'm not sure about the detections in the Elastic, about the the security tab in there. I wasn't like very, it's not that, I wasn't using this as much as I should. I will in future. I guess I need to set it up somehow. I will figure this out. Yeah, you can also use the fleet. I just went with standard WinLog beat because that's what I knew how to do, basically. Alright, I want to keep it kinda, in 1 hour-ish time period, so it's easier to watch and more comprehensive, consistent in kind of, one stream, one topic. I don't want to touch on too many things, but I like to talk about lots of stuff. So yeah, okay guys, thanks for watching. I hope that it will be useful for some of you. If you found it cool, if you have some questions, yeah, you can hit me up on LinkedIn or on YouTube. That's all good. Yeah, thanks, and I will see you around hopefully soon. See you.